Coordinator's Corner is presented by JCW's, The Burger Boys, Siegfried and Jensen, helping Utah families for over 30 years, and Smith's, low prices, market fresh.
You are in the Coordinator's Corner, brought to you by JCW's The Burger Boys. BYU wins its 8th season opener in Kalani Sitake's 9 seasons as BYU head coach. 41-13, the season opening win over Southern Illinois Saturday night at LaVell Edwards Stadium, sold out stadium. This Friday night, BYU visiting 2-0 SMU in the Cougars and the Mustangs' 5th all-time meeting. Half hour number 2 of our show gets underway. We welcome in BYU's offensive coordinator and QB coach, Aaron Roderick. Coach A-Rod, good to see you once again.
Good to see you.
All right, congrats on week 1.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a good win.
Last week on this show, we helped preview the SIU game with defensive coordinator Jay Hill. 48 hours before the SIU game, Coach Hill ends up in the hospital dealing with a cardiac issue. Fortunately, a very positive outcome, right, as he was back in the building with all of you on Saturday.
Yeah, and he's back to work today. I can't believe it. But I've been friends with Jay since about 1995, coached with him for a long time up the road and here, and we've been good friends for a long time, so I'm just very relieved that he's doing okay.
Coach Hill's well-being was, of course, paramount, but from a football standpoint, how do you think everyone reacted to make sure BYU had the best chance to succeed on Saturday while you're worrying about him at the same time?
Well, it started with Jay just not making a big deal about it. You know, he didn't want any drama, and but of course it is dramatic, so, you know, but I thought everyone just handled it really well, our whole staff. The defensive staff just manage things, and then on offense we just, you know, stayed just doing our thing, and I think everybody just plowed right through it.
Well, last week at this time, and by the way, best possible outcome for Coach Hill, and it sounds like we're hoping things are more or less back to normal this week. Last week on this show, you still hadn't named a starting quarterback publicly, so today you can tell us how it was that Jake Retzlaff won the starting job.
We just felt like he earned it in practice. You know, we've had the same type of competition before, multiple times, and usually if you put in enough reps in practice, it becomes apparent to everybody who's won the job. It's not a situation where we have to make a decision and everybody's waiting on it.
I didn't see that coming,
I think our players, it took a while though, because Gary's a good player, and so both of them were having good days, and and I think they both made each other better, and then just eventually it hit a point where everybody felt like, okay, Jake's earned this, and thought he went out and played really well.
To the game, and it could not have started any better. Defense gets a 3-and-out. Offensive scores a TD on the opening drive, and it was a long drive. 13 plays, 65 yards, 2 fourth-down conversions in that opening drive, and those are tone setters too.
They are, yeah, and going for it on 4th down is part of what we do, and it always has been, and just last year we weren't as good at it, you know, but in the past 4 or 5 years we've gone for it a lot on 4th down, and so a lot of times on 3rd downs we're playing to get ourselves in position to go for it on 4th down, and that happened several times the other night.
Which is why sometimes your raw 3rd down numbers are kind of had to be taken in context because
Correct.
You're setting up a 4th down perhaps.
Yeah, we think of it in terms of conversion down, not necessarily our 3rd down.
Whether it's 3rd or 4th.
Yeah, so we were 7 for 15 the other night,
but
there were 4 times that we played to get ourselves in position for the 4th down, and we converted 3 of them.
So I think your conversion down number ended up at 10 for 19 on the night, I think.
Correct.
Is what it turned out to be.
We think of it more that way.
Yeah.
Are we staying on the field and moving the chains? The actual 3rd down stat is not as important to us.
Second drive, second score. This one was more than 20 yards longer, but took only 4 plays and only 1:21 off the clock. Of course, the big play was the scoring play. Jake Retzlaff to Jojo Phillips. This ball was in the air a long time. What a throw.
Yeah, and this play was very well executed, and it was something we saw in their defense. We thought we could take a shot over the top, and they lined up just how we had hoped, and Jojo can run. I mean, he's a fast guy. And
look at he wings that from his hip almost, 60 yards in the air.
Yeah, it was 60 plus yards in the air, and you see Jojo's speed on this play. He's long, but he's really fast.
Lots of attention on your top 3 receivers, but Jojo Phillips is right there pushing for reps. You've liked him for a long time.
I have. Jojo is just an awesome kid, really high character, no drama at all. Just comes to work every day, does his job, and just a really humble guy, and love him so much. He's going to be a future star here.
And maybe current star.
Yeah, I mean,
well.
yeah, he already is.
Yeah.
I'm saying he's
Right.
got a lot of
football in front of him.
He's got a lot of good football ahead of him, yes.
Yeah. You didn't have Darius Lassiter over an NCAA eligibility waiver, which was granted, but you do get him back this week, right?
We do, and that's big because Darius and Chase have both had a great camp. I mean, all of our receivers have, but I would say Darius has been right up there as one of our best players in camp.
How is it? I mean, he must have been just antsy, right?
I think he had a good time, watching us throw the ball around and have some success, but he wanted to be on that field.
Leading 14-0 on Saturday, you had your only real scoring lull of the night in the second quarter.
Yeah.
You had a 9-play drive end with a field goal miss, which you wouldn't see coming because Will had been perfect inside 44. You had been going for it on fourth downs, but I think you thought, let's take some points because he's been so accurate.
Yeah, we were about 1 yard. We were about 1 yard from going for it on fourth. If we would have made another yard, we would have gone for it. But we have a lot of faith in Will. So
right.
It's not that we don't want Will to kick. It's just, it takes 3 field goals to beat a touchdown and a PAT. If you're kicking field goals, you've got to drive 3 times. Do that 3 times to beat 1 touchdown. So, and sometimes you got to measure what the net worth is of whether to kick that field goal or whether to punt, or go for it on fourth. And so we were close to going for it on fourth there. I thought one huge thing is Will missed that kick, and then he comes back and makes a 50-yarder before the half, which I'm sure you're going to.
Yeah, we are going to get to that. Yeah, and how big it was. So no points there. Next drive got to a 4th and 5 in SIU territory. Jake was looking for Chase Roberts. They didn't connect, but it was the only target I think Chase didn't end up catching on the night. He was outstanding on Saturday. Jake ended up throwing a little behind Chase, as I recall.
Chase played almost a perfect game, and that was one play we didn't execute as well.
Did he need to sit?
Between Chase and Cody, there was we were trying to get a little rub to get the ball to Cody.
Okay.
We didn't execute it well enough. It was literally the only mistake Chase made the whole game.
Wasn't he great though?
Jake could have made a better throw too. Both of them, they both had a really good game.
But I think it was really the only time you looked for Chase, they didn't end up connecting.
They've got good chemistry.
I think you had fourth downs, they were going to Chase, and thanks to an officiating, I'll call it a blunder, Southern Illinois scores a touchdown on its ensuing possession after that missed field goal. So despite dominating, it's 14-6, so kind of a ball game. That makes the final 40 seconds of the first half so huge for you, right? You get the ball with 46 seconds to go. You go 43 yards, sets up a 50-yarder from Will. And since you were getting the ball to start the second half, an even bigger sequence, and he knocks down. I thought it was a big momentum shift for you, just getting that field goal.
Yeah, it was a really good job by our offense executing that 2-minute drive, and we executed that perfectly. The players just did a nice job managing that situation, and then the last completion that we made right here on the dig to Chase, great throw and catch to get us in position to kick it, and then huge by Will to step up and make that after missing. It's not easy that your next one's a 50-yarder.
Right.
And he knocked it right through.
Ends up being a career long. So BYU took a 17-6 lead at the break. When we come back, some second half highlights as BYU finishes off the Salukis. More with Ace OC Aaron Roderick is coming up. You can get ready for BYU and SMU this Friday with BYU Sports Nation Game Days expanded coverage 2 hours before kick at 5 Eastern, 3 Mountain on BYUtv. When we come back, the Coordinator's Corner continues. We're brought to you by JCW's The Burger Boys. Back with more. Coach Roderick after this. Welcome back to the Coordinator's Corner. BYU OC and QB coach Aaron Roderick with us. The Cougs on a short week this week, visiting SMU this Friday night. BYU season opened with a 41-13 home victory over SIU, Southern Illinois. Cougs took control by scoring 17 consecutive points spanning halftime. Before the break, we showed the 50-yard field goal that put you up 17-6. Second half began with the ball, and the second half began like the first half, long drive for a touchdown, and like the scoring drive to open the game, the TD drive to open your second half, had a fourth down conversion in there, and then the big play, a 52-yarder to Keelan Marion.
Yeah, that was an unbelievable catch.
It was. 3 white shirts around him.
It was a great throw as well, but he really, the way he tracked this ball and wrapped around the safeties and then even had the referee that he had to avoid, it was a really great catch.
And that's a touchdown drive to open half number 2. Big special teams play, and there's the L.J. Martin touchdown catch that caps off the drive. Big special teams play on the ensuing SIU drive. They stopped that fake punt. So you got a short field. A PI call sets you up in the red zone. Then you get Matava Tase, his first BYU touchdown on a really nice throw.
Yeah, I was happy for Tava. He's a guy who's just been a blue-collar, hard worker for us, and he's a very good receiver. We just, a year ago, he just didn't get as involved as we would have liked, and so we've made a point this year to involve him more in the passing game. And so hopefully you'll see more of this.
So if you're with your ones, let's say, in double tight, we're talking about Keanu Hill and Tavatase, right?
Yeah, we played the other night we played in 12 personnel with 2 tight ends. We played in 13 personnel with 3 tight ends. And we even had one snap of 14 personnel where there were 4 tight ends in the game. And
you've got a lot of them.
You'll see more of that this season in all those groupings.
Another short field after a short SIU punt set you up 1st and 10 from the SIU 37 to open the 4th quarter. Short drive was all LJ Martin, and he ended up finishing it off with a touchdown run. Yeah,
it was great to have LJ. He on the field, he does so many good things for us. He's just a really versatile guy, very smart player, and we got to get him the ball more.
LJ was kind of eased back into camp with the objective of having him ready to go in game 1, and he was ready to go in game 1. He led your team in carries and in rushing yards.
Yeah, one thing to clarify though is he practiced from practice 1. He never missed one practice in fall camp. We were just careful with his contact. He practiced in every day. We were just smart about how much contact he did.
BYU would tack on a field goal after that LJ touchdown in the 4th quarter, so win at 41-13. I thought for a season opener, Coach, really clean, really efficient win.
It was. I was pleased. There's always things we can do better, but 0 turnovers starts there. That's huge. And then if you have no turnovers and you score 41 points, and there's a really good chance you're going to win the game. And so those are the 2 most important stats in football: is the score and the turnover, turnover battle. But we did a lot of other good things. 179 yards rushing was good, and I was pleased. I think again, there's areas we can improve there, but that was a good start. And then thought we threw the ball well.
Going back over your last 3 seasons plus, almost half your games have been turnover free. And if you're just turnover free, since Kalani's been the head coach, 30-4 is your record if you just don't give the ball away.
Yeah, we take a lot of pride in taking care of the football, and our offense is built that way to take care of the ball as well. Like scheme-wise, we put a high premium on possessing the football, and we'll continue to work at it.
First career victory for Jake Retzlaff as starting quarterback. Kind of like in baseball, wins go to starting pitchers, sometimes wins go to starting quarterbacks. Career highs in completion percentage, passing yards, touchdowns, pass efficiency. He showed why he's your starter.
Yeah, he played a really good game, and he's been doing that in practice, since spring ball. And so I wasn't surprised. I don't think anybody was. That's what we've been seeing every single day, and I think we're just going to see him keep improving.
And can make plays with his legs when he needs to. That's part of his game too.
He's a good runner. He's a good athlete, and we'll use him in the run game when we need to, here and there, just like we used to do with Zach and Jaron. And we'll be smart about when we do that, but we're going to make teams have to honor that as well.
You selected Jake as one of your 2 offensive players of the week for the SIU game. Who was the other?
I thought Chase had a great game as well. He graded very high and made some really, really critical plays. Those contested catches are, those are huge. And anybody can make the play when they're wide open, but he made some really tough catches with people draped on his back, and just super proud of him. He played like a team captain.
He's had a 100-yard receiving game in 2022, a 100-yard receiving game in 2023, and now he gets one here in 2024. But I told him Saturday, feel free to get more than one 100-yard game. Go for a few this year.
Yeah, I would expect him to have a few more this year.
Well, he was excellent. Those are your co-offensive players of the week, Jake Retzlaff and Chase Roberts. Time again for a break, and as we step away, we remind you that your Cougar Sports day-to-day play-by-play is on BYU Sports Nation with Spencer Linton and Jerem Jordan, weekdays at noon Eastern on BYUtv and BYU Radio. Coming up in our final segment of this week's show, a preview of a short week showdown with SMU. The Coordinator's Corner is brought to you by JCW's The Burger Boys. Back with Coach Aaron Roderick right after this. You are in the Coordinator's Corner, brought to you by JCW's The Burger Boys. Closing segment with BYU Offensive Coordinator and QB Coach Aaron Roderick today. A couple of personnel notes. Let's remind folks, wide receiver Darius Lassiter is back Friday at SMU. And you said he looked good in camp, right?
Yeah, he had a great camp, and we're excited to have him back. He's a good player.
Sonny Makassini.
Yeah.
Kind of an under-the-radar name for some people, but he got his first career start for you against Southern Illinois. How did he and the entire offensive line maybe look or grade out to you?
He played well, he's had a great camp, and he's actually probably our backup center as well right now. In fact, he played some snaps at center at the end. But I thought our offensive line did a good job. You know, we're still things we can do better, but Caleb Etienne had his best game of his time at BYU.
That could be an important story for you this year, right?
The best game of his season last year was the Oklahoma State game. So he's back-to-back played his 2 best games since he's been here. I thought the whole line did a really solid job.
Looking ahead to SMU now, a lot of 2 linebacker stuff, some 4-2-5 you could say is their base. Coordinator Scott Simons, you faced that defense in the 2022 New Mexico Bowl, but they made a big jump from 22 to 23. So better than they were when you saw them the first time around.
Yeah, they were very good on defense last year. I think someone told me they were the only team in the country that was top 15 in total offense and total defense last year. I think that's correct. But they were very good on defense last year, and they're off to a good start this year as well. They have good personnel, very athletic, physical, good tacklers. They fly around. It's going to be a big challenge.
How much of that New Mexico Bowl defensive scheme from 2020-22 are you still seeing now?
Well, we were such a different team then.
Yeah, true enough.
We were playing that game with Sol J at quarterback. We were, that was a run-heavy game plan to just try to find a way to win with a depleted team. That
so they wouldn't be giving you the same looks necessarily.
It's probably not the same, but we've got, we have last year's film, and then they have 2 games this year to look at as well. So. They're very good, though.
They had 47 sacks last season, already 4 sacks, 15 TFLs in the first 2 games of this season, so they have something they want to get done there,
yes,
don't they?
They can rush the passer, and they're very athletic all across the board, so they can play man coverage, they can play a variety of zone coverages, and they can bring pressure, or they can just get after you with a 4-man rush. They're a very good team.
We have 45 seconds left. You're taking the team on the road for the first time this season, but I'd be remiss if I didn't give you at least a few seconds, maybe 20 seconds, to talk about how great that home crowd was on Saturday night.
Yeah, they were. We really appreciate our fans. It's such a joy to play at home. I know Coach Gilbride and Coach Woods both really enjoyed it.
The new guys.
Yeah, they both commented before the game how excited they were to experience it, and then I know they and their families loved it, and just so we really appreciate all of our fans.
It's a great night. Coach Roderick, great to have you back with us. Have a great week and good luck on Friday night.
Thanks.
All right, that'll do it for week 2 of the Coordinator's Corner for Coaches Poppinga and Roderick and our entire crew. My name is Greg Grubel. Thanking you for tuning in. BYU and SMU Friday night at 5 o'clock Mountain, 6 o'clock in Dallas on ESPN2 and BYU Radio. Have a great week and go Cougs.